Today, it was a day which shows us the complexity of life. But at the same time, it showed us hope. And I learned that life is complicated, full of surprises. And as a Palestinian child who was born, raised in refugee camps, deprived of what do we call a childhood, just if I was born to live the misery of life, I was fighting to live and survive. I wasn't the only one, even till now. Hundreds of millions of children and people are fighting to survive, and we are watching them. At the same time, others are living to fight. And that's the question we want to ask. Were we born to fight or to live and to give life? But I looked at it. That's the hope. My suffering and other suffering is man-made. Once it's man-made, I should take responsibility of not accepting it. I will never accept the misery of life. Someone can deprive you, can oppress you, can occupy you, can imprison you, but they will never prevent you from dreaming. So I urge you, especially the young students, to dream. Dream big. Dreams are close to reality. With hard work, I dreamed as a child to be a medical doctor. I worked hard. The dream became a reality. But as I said, life is complicated. Even now, more complicated than before. No one knows what will happen tomorrow. And just in 4 months period, the most difficult exams in my life I faced. The day when I lost my wife, and I was blessed to have 6 lovely, beautiful, bright daughters and 2 sons. And 4 months later is the day when my 3 daughters and niece were killed by an Israeli tank shell. I thought it is the end of the world. As a believer, as a Muslim, I fully believe everything from God is for good. What is bad is man-made. I said this tragedy is for good and must be invested for good. At that time, the world, as now we are watching what is happening in the world, and we didn't ask ourselves, what can we do to make a difference? What makes the evil to flourish and spread in this world is good people to do nothing. We lost the connectedness. We lost the relation, the human relations, and the purpose of life. I said, this tragedy must be for good, to show the human face about the Palestinians. But do we want to show the human face to others? We are human since we are born. And that a human life is the most precious thing in the universe. I practice medicine because I believed, and I will continue to believe, medicine and health are the human equalizer. They are the human stabilizer. I was the first Palestinian doctor to practice medicine in an Israeli hospital, where we give life. The happiest moment in my life when I handled the baby to his mother. The cry of the newborn baby is a cry of hope. It's an appeal, a new life is coming. But did we prepare the life and the future of this newborn baby? The people were expecting me after I saw my daughters. Bisan, who was 20 years old, Mayar, who was 15, Aya, who was 14, and my niece, who was 17. I will hate. I may have the right to hate. But I can say, and I say to my daughters, when I saw them, I swore to God. And I swore to my daughters, I will never relax. I will never rest. I will keep moving, determined, more focused, of not giving up, because I fully believe I will meet them one day. But to meet them with what? With the big gift. They sacrificed their souls and noble blood. The justice which is missing in this world. Fully believe this world can endure with two things: justice and the truth. And we don't want to spend time. What is justice? Justice is to like for others. What do I like for myself? To put myself in the shoe of the others. With hate, which I believe it's a poison, it's a toxin, which destroys the one who carries it. It's a fire which consumes and eats the one who is carrying it. We shouldn't think of hate. If you want to challenge the one you plan and you want to hate, if you want to defeat the one you plan to hate, is to be healthy, to be strong, to be determined, and not to allow the hate. Can say to you, don't accept to be a victim more than once. With killing of my daughters and the life I ran, I was a victim. But I will never accept it. To be a victim of hate. Instead of that, challenge the one you want to hate. As my daughter Shada, from whom I learned. And I learned from my daughters. And we need to learn and to listen to our children. They are wise enough to teach us. My daughter Bisan, at the age of 14, where she was the first Palestinian girl I sent to peace camps, because I believed in girls. When she came back to say, I learned how similar are we. Can we learn from our children? At the age of 14, she said, to meet violence with violence doesn't solve any problem. At the age of 14, Bisan said, everything starts small, then becomes big. Everything starts in one place and goes in different directions. It's the action we want, to believe in it and not to underestimate the size of your action. Just start and don't wait for others. Others will follow you. My daughter Shada, who was in her final year at the high school, studying day and night to be one of the top 10 in Palestine in the high school. She was studying on candles, but she didn't lose hope. And we must not lose hope. As a medical doctor, I will never lose hope as long as the patient is still alive. But we need to change course of the treatment and to give our patients the care they deserve. What did she suffer? Mountains can't bear it. She lost her mother at the start of the year. 4 months later, she lost 3 sisters and niece, and she was severely wounded. She spent 4 months in the hospital. She lost the sight in one eye and 2 fingers in her right hand. But she said, I will never give up. I will go to study to achieve the plans of my sisters, to challenge the one I plan to hate. She did the exam, and the day we moved to Canada, they announced the result, and she succeeded as nothing happened. 96%. And what is she doing now? She's studying computer engineering at the University of Toronto. That's the challenge. The biggest weapon of mass destruction is the hate in our souls. We should build a shield around our bodies of not hating. And we must open our eyes. It's time for us to look around. Once we start to look around and to ask, we learn about what is happening in this world. Once we learn, we can act on evidence-based practice. Hate, violence, and diseases are not taught or made. They are created, and we expose our children. And if we want to blame ourselves, what did we do to make our children violent or hate? No one was born violent or with hate. Hate and violence, it's the environment in which our children are living, and we make them. And if we want to take responsibility of changing the environment and the context in which they live to avoid the violence, hate, and diseases, we need to focus on prevention, not to treat diseases. I succeeded to challenge that. And in my life, I am in debt to my mother, without whom, and my wife and my daughters, I will never be here. I don't believe in impossible thing because of my mother, my wife, and my daughters. The only impossible thing in life I believe in is to return my daughters back. So it's a matter of action. And it's good that we are meeting. But what do we need? To do something. And no one in this world is far away from risk. We are living and riding the same boat. Maybe we are far from risk by distance. But at the end, we all facing this risk. And it's time to speak up, to defend the freedom of others. No one is free as long as others are not. We need to stand up for the freedom of all. Freedom of poverty, of oppression, of occupation, of unemployment, of fear, of sickness. And I want to remind you of Martin Niemöller, the German Protestant theologist at the time of the Nazis. He said, they came first. They came first for the communists. And I didn't speak up because I wasn't a communist. Then they came for the Jews. And I didn't speak up because I wasn't a Jew. Then they came for the trade unionists. And I didn't speak up because I wasn't a trade unionist. Then they came for the Catholic. And I didn't speak up because I wasn't a Catholic. Then they came for me. Sadly, by that time, there was no one left to speak up to. How long do we want to wait till we stand up and to speak up and to say the word, the just word to defend others? That's what is needed from each of us. My daughters, who energizes me, and they are alive with me, I will never forget them because I feel I am accountable to them. What did you do for us? And that's what I am determined to act with wisdom, with kind words and good deeds, to send them blessings. The email I received from a Canadian woman to say our newborn baby was born 26th of August. I want you, Izzeldin, to know that I gave her your first daughter's name, Bisan. I want to instill in our children and our future generation peace and the rejection of conflict. She kept my daughter alive. Daughters for Life Foundation is devoted for education of girls and women in the Middle East. If we want to change this world, it's not only with justice, it's with the education of girls and women. If we want to achieve the justice, it's time for women to take the right role in shaping and making decisions in our life. This year, we were able to fundraise and to support girls from the Middle East. I can say to you, my daughters are alive. And as Einstein said, life is like riding a bicycle. To keep balanced, we must keep moving. I kept moving faster, stronger, more determined. And sisters and the brothers, I came here because I believe in you. Have hope, have faith, but most important is to take action. And in our life we have priorities. And the priority is not the past, it's the future. But who is the future? Our children. Can we work and come together to give our future the bright, safe, secure, and free future? Thank you. Thank you.